Welcome
Hi,
everyone who
everyone.
is still here. Thank you for sticking around. I think we are now going to take questions, comments from those of you who are here, and then our group will, you can address a question to any one of us or to all of us, and we will do our best to say something worth hearing.
I guess we should all introduce ourselves.
Good idea.
Oh,
I'm Jan Mayer. I've been around before. You've seen me at the beginning.
And I'm Marlon Carey, also at the beginning. We introduced writer, actor, and director with the project.
And I'm Vanessa. I'm one of the writers and directors.
I'm Karen. I'm one of the writers.
And Nina, do you want to?
Just got to unmute.
Oh, can you see me?
Yes,
We can hear
you're
you.
on.
Link completely. I was going to start again. I'm Nina Gross. I'm one of the writers.
Okay. So again, any questions or comments you would like to address to any one of us or to all of us, feel free to write that, and Vanessa's going to be monitoring those and fielding them to us. And to get started, maybe we might just talk a little bit about the process that we went through to kind of develop all of these things. I guess it started pretty much right after we had to close the physical Lava Center, and we started thinking immediately of what can we do to have an online presence and to keep the creative work going that we would be doing if we were open, and that thus hatched the idea of this short play festival that would respond to our current circumstances. And I would just say that the process of developing the work together was wonderful. We came together in Zoom, and everybody brought their scripts, and we could put them up through screen share and read through them and give comments, suggestions, etc. Take it away, work on it some more, bring it back another time. And it was very focused and really quite wonderful for me as a writer to be involved in that process.
Yeah, likewise, I had a wonderful experience getting together, with such really talented people, sharing from a distance. We really connected. We didn't really know each other. I was really introduced to the group by Vanessa. Thank you for connecting. But really just, to me, it was something that might have been inconceivable or something I would think was cumbersome or, I don't know, labor intensive beforehand. But when it became a necessity in order to keep the creative juices flowing and to keep production going, to connect with others through this medium, it really helped me. Funny enough, I perform on stages for a living. I do stage performances, I do classroom. All these things I do require large amounts of people to gather in one place while I'm in front of them. And I'm incredibly shy. When I got to this place where like you're in my face and I'm in your face and I gotta make sure there's no breadcrumbs on my face, very, very different. And so I had to adjust and I had to learn a lot of things about production in terms of like editing my clips to send to Vanessa. But from a wonderful experience, I've gained so much valuable information, whereas it was something I was passively teasing the idea of I should do more video. I should put out more content. The necessity of it really came through this pandemic. I'm really glad to have this great team to work with. You guys helped me grow a lot in this process.
Well, I have a question from Valley of Writers. What was the hardest thing about putting an online production together?
Well, speaking personally, it was learning how to use Premiere Pro fast. That was very time consuming and challenging and rewarding. And I'm going to let somebody else answer now because I know I've got some background noise going on here for a bit, so I'll be better off mute for a bit.
Anyone else have anything to say for that? hardest thing? No.
The hard part fell on Jan and you, Vanessa. So I think the editing and the techno stuff. So
And Marlon, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. I mean, the writing, actually, for me, the writing was challenging. I just had a hard time getting inspired, just going through the daily grind of the pandemic with a kid at home and just trying to figure out. Yeah, Marlon's got 3 times as many kids as I have, which is 3 to 1 anyway.
No, it is really just look right here. There's the reality. It's happening right now as we speak. Um,
Yeah.
in any other situation, it's always difficult trying to manage, childcare with the life and trying to make some kind of living, being a stay-at-home parent. I was doing really well this year with going to schools, traveling, doing sort of. Once they were here, it became, I have to survive and have to continue to stay relevant and have to keep working. But I got all 3 children at home with 3 different social, learning, distance learning situations. Oh, it was a lot of. But certainly, the challenge was helpful to me because this is how I stay sane, continue to do my craft, continue to work. But it became trying to have Zoom meetings with children popping in for to adjust. There he goes. That's what that is.
Yeah, we did a lot of scheduling Zooms as for my involvement around when our grandson takes his nap.
So for me, the opposite of a challenge because it made me feel human, and I've missed some planned concerts and things and so I haven't been doing anything creative really, but teaching, and so this was really special.
I think it's just so exciting to be a part of this, and I really think, Jan particularly did so much work, and Vanessa too, I know, and just, but I know that, when I was working on this stuff, you guys were always there, and I just know how much work you put into it, and for me, it was just really exciting to be a part of the process. I really got a lot out of that. I think it kind of, it's nice to, you kind of lost a lot of connection through this. So this was, as well as writing being good, as well as the writing being a new experience, was also kind of an important connection.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I'd like to sort of turn that question on its end, I guess, and say, what was easy about doing this? Was because we had things in all these little segments, and I had 14 of them in terms of directing responsibilities, but some of them were like half a minute long or a minute long, 2.5 minutes long. So we could do one piece at a time rather than in a live situation where you would have to call the entire cast together for hours in order to work through, each scene. This way we could just devote kind of a chunk of time to each one. And the writers could be fully present in the Zoom meeting too. And it just seemed to work very, very easily and well to do both the developmental part of it in terms of the acting and the, who are these characters, what are they about, and then also the sort of final time that we would do it in order to record it. It just felt very smooth and easy to do. So that was fun to discover. And there were challenges. I mean, here's the other big challenge: green screens. We learned so much about what not to do with green screens. What I've got here, don't do that with a green screen. There are many things wrong with this. It's got texture in it, 1. It's got shadows on it, 2. And it's got wrinkles in it, 3. 3 very, very big no-nos for a green screen. And so that's why some of the background that you see on some of the pieces is kind of blurred and rendered artistically, shall we say. And other times people seem to have a little bit of the background kind of shining through their clothing or their body, or giving them a bit of a green halo or something like that. These are the technical challenges of doing this kind of work and coming from stage where we don't have to deal with this to doing it in this medium. But again, it was tremendous amount of learning that went on, and boy, the next time we'll have a much better handle on those things.
And I absolutely, I say one of the easiest things for me was just, you have a situation where they're eager writers and directors and they're eager actors, and I really love that we're finding, for specifically for a Close Call, two really eager actors who you could tell that they shine on stage, whatever production they're in, but here they are committing their time to this short play that I created with this group, and it was just they were easy to work with. I was concerned about trying to direct from a distance. I thought that might be super difficult. But no, I found that to be one of the easier parts. The hardest part was trying to find Wi-Fi while on vacation. Overall, just a very smooth process of directing. They're very eager, very much willing to, retake something. It's this mixture because you're technically directing something that is meant for stage, but it becomes a video project because of the dynamics of where we are. And so, you've got to ask actors to do it again, And, okay, well, if we were in person and I had maybe cajoled you with a couple of extra Dunkin' Donuts or something, you might have been more willing to do this for me. Here I am asking you, over distance to do. Could we just take it one more time, please? And they were very willing. So I was very, very fortunate to have solid actors who really wanted to produce something well. It's wonderful. So we had a good time.
Yeah, I'd like to say a word about the acting too, which is that I have never done anything, never written any kind of plays before. And although I love to attend them, but that's as close as I've gotten. And it was just really a joy to me to see how much the actors who did my plays brought to it, and how they made the characters come alive in ways that I had not really heard in my head and had not really anticipated. That was really special. That was really a joy of this. They were doing work there, but it was good. It was good to watch. It was lovely to see.
Mm-hmm. It's also very nice to see how the other plays, I loved the same thing that you're talking about, watching the plays sort of come alive. But it was also really cool we had just read them to each other, right? And now I get to see them come to life with the technical stuff behind it and everything. And it was very enjoyable for me to see everybody else's work.
Yeah, that guitar scene was so incredible.
Yeah.
COVID, the rock opera, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I noticed that there's a lot of comments that we haven't gotten to yet. I want to, first of all, I couldn't see who was all here earlier, but I did catch that a shout out to, if she's still here, Mimi and Steve Adams. Those are just personal friends I was delighted to see because they're from far away, from a distance, and a lot of local friends as well. And my sister in Providence, or nearby where Marlon is in Pawtucket by Providence. Marlon, I want you to know, she says she especially enjoyed the father-daughter dialogue about distance learning and would be interested, Marlon, in what you do in Providence. I live in Pawtucket. So,
oh wow, nice.
I'll hook the two of you up.
Absolutely.
Linda McInerney, who first tutored me in green screen usage, and you can see I didn't entirely master the lessons, but next time. And also thank you for loaning us the first green screens. We now have a large selection of green screens for anyone in the Greenfield area who may need them in the future, by the way. Let's see, here's Carol Letson, hi Carol, says, what did you discover about yourself while working on this play? There's a good question. Who would like to take it up?
I discovered that it almost came naturally to me, and it was exciting. I woke up in the middle of the night and I got another one, So I want to write more plays, definitely.
Absolutely. Yeah, I may have been nervous with my playwriting before. Like, in fact, I have a couple of scripts that I would love to talk to you guys about getting just produced and brought forward. But you compartmentalize sometimes. I've been writing mostly poems on certain subjects for Shakespeare to hip hop in my company, working with schools. This is what the directive is, and I write some rap songs over here. But I sort of put my playwriting in this back burner thing of, oh, I'll get back to it, and it was really, really great to be able to gather with you guys and begin to create things. Oh yeah! And as I'm watching Kim and Shannon perform, I'm like, oh, I wrote that. They brought such a great life to it, and it was like, okay, I can do this. I can get back into my playwriting and get some of these things off the ground that have been sitting dormant for a while in my notebooks. So that's awesome.
Karen, do you want to respond to
I
that
think
question?
what I learned was how much I enjoyed working with everybody, and how much I enjoyed working in a group. Usually I write various things, articles or stories or whatever, and I pretty much do it on my own. Maybe work with an editor toward the end of the process. But this was a delight because we really did all work together. We saw all the first drafts and went through them with each other, and then Jan particularly would work through the later drafts. I thought that was just really great. I forgot how much I enjoyed doing that. So that was really good.
I love
Vanessa,
the
how about you?
audition process, watching different people do the different roles, and it brought out so many different types of things. So that was exciting for me too.
I just
Vanessa,
saw a comment from David. Will you consider doing a set of plays, short plays, to respond to the Black Lives Matter and the protests,
Wow.
which is an amazing idea.
Mm.
You know, certainly that's been, at the same time while the pandemic's been spreading, a lot of this news about some of these things have been highlighted, and it absolutely is something that I think we can think about, in terms of each of us putting our heads to it and beginning to talk about it, maybe even as a continuation in relation to the pandemic and how they're playing out. People have been cooped up for so long, and then they go out and then they're protesting, but then they're also, increasing the spike of curve or somewhere. There's a lot of things there. I think I'm absolutely interested, David. Thank you for that idea.
yes. Yes, and hello, David. David is in Maine. And hello, Jill, who I presume is with him. One of the things that has been fabulous about this is this melding of distance and nearby work and people, and the idea that we can have put this together from a distance and now can even have our audiences from such a greater distance has been it's been gratifying. It's been really gratifying. I think to go back to Carol's question about what did I learn from it about my own process, I feel like this has been a good combination of my personal tendencies of being an extreme introvert and the fact that theater is an out in the world thing to do. So I've found in a sense a way of working that feels very comfortable. So I'm kind of prepared to go on and think about how to keep doing more of this kind of work, even if we do get to go back to the physical space and the whole pandemic passes. This is a new territory for me, so I'm liking that. Vanessa, I'd like you to address that question real quickly, and then I'd like to get back to Marlon's, to Bill's question and Marlon's response.
Kind of what you were saying about having this medium is, I really liked working in this medium, and I guess I didn't really learn anything new necessarily, but just kind of relearning how much I like to work collaboratively, and that this was great to work with everyone, and I couldn't have done any of it by myself, and I wouldn't have wanted to. Like, that's, for me, theater is about collaborating, and doing it online was really cool because it allowed for a flexibility of meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And plus nobody had any plans. So, are you around to meet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me check my calendar.
Right.
Yep,
Oh,
I can meet.
the next 3 months just opened up.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out to Lucinda Kidder, who's out there, according to this display on my phone.
Lucinda.
The other, Vanessa, Lucinda, and I are the 3 co-coordinators of the Lava Center. So also somebody who gave us some really good advice about how do you do this stuff on Zoom, because she produced something on Zoom before we got started. So let's see, I'm gonna scroll back through and see if we missed any questions. There's a lot of wonderful comments here. Thank you for all of them.
I have a good question from Sandra. When
Okay.
there was a conversation in the piece, were they actually talking in real time?
Real Zoom time.
Yeah.
They were talking in real Zoom time, but we, the entire show, from the first verse of the song till the last credit, was cobbled together and put into a video file that would play continuously, so that we didn't want to be subject to all the strange things Zoom can do to you if you are live on Zoom without any kind of distance, in a sense, between you and what's going to happen, or what you want to have happen on the screen. So yeah, conversations were in real time on Zoom in rehearsal, and then each session went to a rehearse record session, which was the final takes, and the best of that was what went into the videotape.
Another question from Chinoa. Hi, Chinoa. She's wondering whether writing, producing, and performing in the show was therapeutic in any way that you noticed. She's a psychology student. That's why she's asking that.
Nice.
Definitely. So the Halcyon piece with the online therapist was basically because I went through my friends, and so instead of bothering Jan again, I went, oh, I'll write about it, and that just turned into a piece.
Nice. Same with mine, the supermarket piece. Like, that was very autobiographical. And it was
Right.
out, and to write it out, and then also to share it with people who are like, yeah, I do that every time I go to the supermarket too. Like, thank you for validating me.
Yeah. I mean, it's always therapy. You're always kind of working through. I mean, if it's any kind of meaningful to you, you're working through something that you're struggling with. So just getting it out there and getting it on paper and exploring it a little bit is kind of therapeutic.
Right. I actually have a follow-up appointment with my doctor, which I've been sort of postponing and putting off from scheduling because, in order to do the second visit, they have to check numbers. They have to really do tests and things. They need my physical body there. They've offered to do the digital, but I said, well, I can't. I can weigh myself here on my scale. I can take my own blood, but what's the point? So I have to do a visit. But I got really nervous about, especially early on when there's a lot of panic about it. That's exactly when I think March I had the appointment, and I had to make a decision. Do I, as a stay-at-home dad, primary caregiver, take that chance to go for a follow-up? Hey, your numbers might be a little high. Let's check you out now, type of thing, and potentially go get the COVID-19 in the lobby. Like, it was just this freaky idea. And so I started thinking about these characters, and highlighted and exacerbated some of the thoughts in my head. But these are real thoughts I've had, and the more I started looking at information, the more I started reading up on virology, then there became this Bob Scare You Bad sort of thing, where I was like, oh man, what if someone gave you all the information? You don't want all the information, and that's what I kept. So yeah, I think a lot of these plays, I learned a lot, or a little bit about, my fellow co-writers just from hearing and working out some of these plays before you learn a little bit about each person's personality, what we're expressing through the characters.
Also, as a creative person, if you don't have a creative outlet, I think being productive is the most therapeutic thing you can possibly do. So it gave us an opportunity to be productive. So I'm grateful for that alone.
I was reading and hearing people say I write fiction and I've got a novel in progress. And when we first went into the lockdown, it was like, well, okay, so you should now use this time to crank out that novel, right? But it was like I couldn't focus on 1994, 2004, whenever I was in my imaginary central Indiana town with the reality of wondering whether I should use soap and water on the ice cream cartons, right? So doing this was very therapeutic because it allowed me to channel all the sort of bizarre stuff that is life these days into something that made it into a creative writing product. And as Nina said, like if you can't do that, then it's like it's either going to be in the work or it's going to really mess up your actual life. That's therapy. That's very therapeutic. Yeah.
This is a separate thing, but I think that if we had started work on this just a few weeks later than we did, the Black Lives Matter movement would have been an entirely different thing. It would almost have to have entered
absolutely
some way, but it didn't. Yeah. And another project.
Thanks for bringing us back to that, which I said we were going to do, and I kind of lost my train of thought there. But yes, I was aware of that too, that it was happening when we were kind of moving to the final, things
it's
are
always happening.
ready to edit.
And
it would have been, even the shifts in the landscape from the first week of lockdown to last week, we're starting to change the way the pieces played. So it would have become very difficult to have something that was trying to be really in the moment that wouldn't include that, that moment. And yeah, I think we definitely should consider, we have another playwriting workshop that's coming up that will be climate change, working on short climate change plays, but we can have two playwriting workshops at once. I think we should. And speaking of Bill, or David, I'm sorry, David, putting that question out.
It was actually Jill
It
Masquerade.
was actually Jill, yeah.
Yeah.
It was actually Jill. Hi, Jill. Let's see. Do we have record of these comments after we log off? Because I want to.
I can't see them at all.
Yeah.
Well, I want to make sure that things that people said to the writers. I'm just going to start with right at the end. Read some comments. Allison said, "Excellent, enjoyed every minute," and thank you, Allison, who was a large part of enabling us to get the Lava Center going in the first place. Shannon said, "Awesome, Valley of Writers, like the curtain call. When you forget you're watching on a screen, it must be good." That's a very, I like that. Nikki said, "Thank you so much for this." Alina said, "Fabulous, Jan, well done." Allison, "The song makes me verklempt." Jan says, "Bravo," not me, but a different Jan. Elaine, "Very nicely done." Valley of Writers like the From a Distance and the Fauci line. Steve Adams said, "Good job, guys." Alex, "Poignant and funny, well done." Nina, "Really well done. I enjoyed them all. Great at capturing all of the complexities, issues, weird humor, and nuances of our current weird times. Thank you all." Karen said, "Great show." Pam, "Thank you." And then we got into the questions, but also Dylan said, "Awesome job with everything." Leonore, "Thank you for all the great performances. Love the creative curtain call at the end." Kate said, "Thanks, technical coup." Elaine, "I thought the production quality using Zoom was high. and I've seen quite a few Zoom productions recently. Yet we learned a lot about Zoom and a lot about how to use it, and not as much as we might have. I won't go into the details on that, but we're halfway down that road. And so, yeah, there's a lot you can do with it, and it does have limitations, but it was fun to work within those. Let's see. Ander enjoyed the mix of genres and tones. Kate enjoyed such great perspectives. One had 5 years into this isolation. Yikes. Kimberly said, thank you for all the great performances. Love the creative, and my screen kind of cuts the remark off there. Nina, loved the way each one act linked to the next one. At the very end, I was taken by surprise at how good it was to see a performance. Been a long time, even without the pandemic. So good to see, goes on. And David, which is to say, Jill, says she especially loved Hera Petra play, Nina. Chenua says, an awesome show. Haven't been able to watch all the Q&A so far because of chasing a hyperactive 1-year-old. He watched the show with me and danced whenever music was on, which warms my heart, because the 2-year-old upstairs also loves to dance whenever music is on. Kimberly says, it was freaking awesome. Thank you, Kimberly. And she says, can't wait for more, Marlon. So there's your to-do list, Marlon. You also get another Chenua, a love from the father-daughter distance learning play, the rock opera, the grocery store play, the therapy play. Did I catch them all? A lot of people relate to that supermarket scene and the virology play. Chenua would love to see more work exploring the political divide in this country. Felt myself getting really excited whenever that came up in a show. So now we got to get 3 playwright workshops going.
Add it to the list.
Yeah. Shannon, this was wonderful. Nikki replied, I can't see everything. Anyway, yeah, Shannon, who was in it, was awesome, says Nikki. I think that's all I can see on my phone screen right now, but I wanted to make sure we got those, because I don't know if we get a permanent record of them, and
We do.
wanted the playwrights to hear. So.
Well, I want to thank Jan. Huge thanks to Jan. I think the rest of us can agree. Bravo. And I mean, Jan, in addition to starting this and pulling this all together, she wrote a bunch of the plays. She directed the vast majority of them, learned Premiere Pro from scratch. I mean, she's been working nonstop on this and just carrying all of us. So thank you, Jan.
Thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank all the 19 other people who were part of this project, who all had a very important part of making it
Amazing
come
actor.
alive. Yeah,
So
wonderful,
cool working with you.
wonderful actors, wonderful colleagues in the writing and directing, and it's just been great fun.
Yeah, I stepped out mostly from, like, not wanting to oversee Addie's, say, involvement too much. And I found that she took it seriously, and then she would tell me when things were going on. And, she was in the car watching it, and she goes, I saw the play. Yeah, I'm really proud of my baby. She's 13 now. Grown woman.
Yeah. So I'm seeing it. It's almost up to 4 o'clock, which I think is our announced end of time for this event. I just would like to remind everyone that it's always a possibility to donate to the Lava Center to support this and other projects like this. It costs money to produce, whether you've got a live space or not, and the space costs to maintain, whether you're in it or not. So anything that you feel moved to send as a donation. Vanessa, can you remind us where that and how that can happen best?
Yes, there's, excuse me, in the chat window, either to the right or below this screen that you're watching, the pinned comment has a link to our website, which is localaccess.org/donate, and you can securely donate there. And thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for coming, and for everybody who's still here and hung in for all this wonderful conversation.
Thank you, everybody.
So,
Stay safe, everyone.
yes, stay safe and look for, oh, I know what I want to say. If you know people who missed this, we are going to do a slight variation of it. We are going to do a Zoom of it on July 6th. At this point, the way to do that is to email for a link. So to email me, jan@localaccess.org, and ask to be on the list to get the link to that Zoom meeting. We can accommodate up to 100 people there. And like a regular Zoom format, it will allow more interaction in the question and answer section at the end. So let people know about that. And
What time, July 6th?
July 6th, I think it's our regular first Monday night, Lit Up the Night series. There's always something literature based that goes on out of the Lava Center.
So what time is
And
it?
it will be at 7 o'clock Eastern. And then at some point, we expect it to be on GCTV here locally, but we haven't gotten a time slot for that yet. So we'll put that information out when we get it. And if you are not yet on the Local Access, the Lava Center mailing list, you can sign up for that, and then you're sure to get any news of anything we do in the future. So please consider that if you're not already on the list. And thanks again, everyone, for being part of this.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Take care. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye.